War is upon the land. Blocklords has just brought combat into their RTS grand strategy game. Players can now make huge armies and fight for control of regions. Hey everyone, at Caveman here. See, this has got me pretty damn excited. Age of Empires was one of the first RTS games I ever played. Really got me hooked. It still holds a little piece of my heart, my childhood right there. And in this game, they're trying to build on that foundation, throwing in some additional mechanics and introducing the crypto elements. In this video, I'm going to go over their entire game, breaking down from the early phase where you're just a peasant, starting out on a farm, building that up, and then producing a whole bunch of resources, making rations, and then making and recruiting your army, assembling that battalion, and then going off to war to fight. I'm still pretty early in. I've only been playing a couple days. I'm a little bit behind, but I just wanted to get something out there because it's been a pretty enjoyable experience so far. So here we go. We're going to jump into it right now. I'm going to give all the tips and tricks on how to quickly get through this phase so you can start making enough resources to then generate rations. And rations will be used for your army. If you don't have those, your army will not survive. So it'll get pretty important to have a very built up farm first and then focus on the armies and then do combat after that. So that'll be the flow of the video. Feel free to jump along if you just want to move forward with that. Also, I just wanted to point out that I had the graphic settings on the lowest quality for the entire video. I just did the just really noticed this last second. So I just want to show you guys that the quality is a lot better than what was shown on for the rest of the video. So just so you know, it is a little bit more polished. You just need to turn your settings up. Now, let's go ahead and get started with the farm. Right here, you're going to start off with just one squad and your foreman house. Your goal is to quickly scale up the operations and get a solid crew of 15 different squads, and these are going to be pumping out resources. And the most important one to track is your gold, at least early on. You definitely want to be using this in very select ways. This is the game currency that is mainly used for growth. There are many uses and many ways to waste it early on. So it's important that I think you should save it all for recruiting units, specifically squad units on your farm. You can then get military units a little bit later on, but I'd highly suggest just keeping it and try and save it up so you can instantly be able to recruit and expand your farm operations. In fact, my first tip and suggestion is to actually undeploy or dismiss your army so that you're no longer paying for the upkeep. And so we can do this by going to our world map. You can click on this little eye icon here. It'll bring you to your castle. You click there, you click on the barracks. Then you're going to go to my battalion. From here, as you can see, my army has been decimated. So I'll explain how that happened and how to avoid it. You'll definitely want to watch that later. But so there you go. We got an army here that's been deployed. But to undeploy, you just click my battalion, click dismiss, and this is really important because right now we're sucking down 5 rations per minute. This is happening even when you're not in game, so you'll quickly go through that, especially if you have lots of units. It's like 17 or 20 per minute. It eats it. So definitely dismiss that, get them out of there, and that'll save you a lot of damage. But now let's go back into the farm. So in the farm, you can see we've built up quite a little base here. We got enough little buildings. We got some operations. We got some people working here. We got some slackers also. What are we doing? Why are we not working? Where are these villagers? They're tired. They need to eat. So we'll get them eating. Obviously, I'm doing this video so everyone's at rest, but you definitely want to try and maintain everyone on your roster, constantly working, constantly doing something. But we're going to go through all of the units first. So you'll be able to go into recruit squad, and you'll start off with villagers. Villagers are key. They have a variety of different uses. They can pick wood, stone, or pick fruit, which is food. And so this just makes it useful to whatever you need in a moment. You can kind of like put them there to help. If you run out of food real quick, you can do that. Or if you have other things you need to get them done, either wood or stone, depending on, maybe you have a hero. Like I have a hero for my miners, which makes my mining always higher than my wood. So I usually have my villagers kind of working on wood as a backup. I have 2 villagers. I think that might be a little unnecessary. I probably would have gone back and only had one villager because they do everything a little bit, but they don't like specialize in it. And we'll talk about that in a second when we go through lumberjacks and miners, where when they spend energy, they get a lot more output for their time. So if you can specialize, it is a lot better. So eventually I can imagine myself replacing both these villagers. It's just, once again, gold is going to be the key resource you're going to want to hold on to. So that is villagers. Next, we're going to go over builders. Builders have a variety of different functions. They can build, they can make tools, and they can repair. Oh, and upgrade. And so we'll talk about all four of those. For building, obviously there's a lot of different things that you can build. You'll eventually want to build one of every house and then multiple past that, or one of every building type. Starting with what I would probably suggest is the lumber mill. So you want to do a lumber mill. You want to do a whatever the stone forge is. This one right here. What is it called? It's called a stone mine. So you want to get one of those and one of those as well. Because what happened for me is I messed up and I skipped making a lumber mill. So you can't make a lumberjack. And what lumberjacks can do is they can make the refined wood, and that's needed to build other buildings. And so I got to this point where I couldn't make any refined wood, and so I had to buy all my wood off of the marketplace. Really, really hurt me there for a second. So I spent a good amount of gold trying to get that up. So make sure that you're really, really, recruiting one of each type so that you can make sure that you're good to go there. So, but the builders, they can also make tools. And all these actions that some of these units have all require tools. So like, let's take a lumberjack. For him to do that, it's going to cost 2 tools to go there. So it helps, and your builders need to go through and build tools for everything. Builders are also important for repairing your structures. So there's a cool way to look at this by looking at your building tab right here. And you can see any buildings that are in yellow, they need to be repaired. And so we've got a couple houses. You'll find that houses are the first ones that go usually, and this one has a 50% debuff. So you definitely want to try and hit these early on. You will see, if you don't do this consistently, there'll be a red pop-up that'll come, and it'll show that you're actually minus 70%. And so that's when you're really already too late. You really should be checking this tab, trying to get your guys on it, and you can click there, and then you can, click on a builder if you have one available, and it would be able to activate like we just did. But I don't have one, so we're just going to assign someone to go through there. So this is another way to kind of go through all of your units instead of going through here and looking which one's at rest and then assigning them a specific task. So that is the builders. Oh no, we have one more task that they can do. So the builders can also level up. So a cool little trick with upgrading. So upgrades do a variety of different things. Let's just take our main building. It'll increase your production boost. And that's for the foreman's house. That's a global boost. For other ones, I think it's localized, but I'm not 100% sure. If you have that answer, please let us know in the comments below. But it gives a production boost, which is huge. It increases their health, which then slows down how often you have to use your builders to repair it. It also reduces the number of tools and stamina. There's a variety of benefits to upgrading your building. So typically you want to try and upgrade your foreman house, and then you want to upgrade every one of your other buildings, and then upgrade your foreman house again. And so it's like that cycle, that loop is kind of how we've been going through with it, or like as I've been playing through. Another key thing to know is that if you upgrade, I would, depending on if you're not really focused or needing a specific thing, if you upgrade a building that is already damaged, it'll actually heal it up all the way too. So you can kind of like save yourself time from doing a repair by just upgrading it. So one of those kind of cool tips that I kind of found. So that is the builders. We're going to move on to the miners. And so the miners and lumberjacks are the same kind of unit. They can go and chop wood or mine, and then they can make the refined stone or the refined wood. So that's kind of their main purpose. They just go there. I eventually have 3 of these. So I have 2 that are like doing just the mining, and then 1 that's doing the refining, or 2 that are making the wood cutting, and 1 that's doing the refining. I think that's pretty key. You need to have those once you get up to 15. So try to scale as you're kind of going through. The next one's Hunters. This is my favorite unit. I think these are really cool. They can go out and hunt, and so that gives you meat, and meat's really a pretty good resource, not only for the food that you can eventually convert it into, but also for rations. I think that's another way to make a lot of rations. But so what I would suggest doing is having 2 Hunters, one that's going to go out and hunt, and one that's going to debone. I unfortunately have one. This is one of the places where I think I messed up. But it's a pretty good unit overall. So that's the Hunters. Nothing else really special about that. Farmers. We'll talk about the farmers and their loop. So they've got 2 wheat fields that they'll manage. And so a farmer, let's see, is he available? Yeah, he's got some. So he will go through cycles of planting. And so he'll, if you're really on top of it, you'll plant, and then you'll harvest, and then that's kind of the cycle you go through with him, and he'll be able to take care of those 2 plots and keep it pretty consistent. And that wheat is really important because then that's used both by the cook, and for the last one, the cow herder. So really, really key to keep this farmer going, because you're going to run out of wheat. You never have enough wheat. And so that's why I would actually suggest making sure the cook is the last unit you make. And I unfortunately made 2 of them because I thought that I'd need to, because there's a whole bunch of actions that they have. So let's go ahead and cover what the cook does. So the cook can make that grain from wheat. So they'll go to the windmill. So they go there. That's when they're able to turn that wheat into grain. They're allowed to make bread, so we're going to actually assign that to make bread. So then they go through it and make bread. Now, to make bread, you also need milk, and milk you get from the cow herder, and you'll find that's one of the hardest resources to get. And actually, it's one of my missions right now, and whoever made this mission, I hate you, because I've been working on this mission forever. I've literally upgraded my foreman house twice since I got this mission, and it's absolutely killing me, but it is 10 gold, so hopefully that gold will be useful. But anyways, so yeah, you can make bread with them, and then you can also turn the grain and the bread into food. And so I did a little bit of math on this. That the bread actually has a better conversion rate than the grain at my current production ones. I think I'm getting like 1.8 food per wheat. As how I'm converting it to, because it takes a lot of wheat to make both the milk and the grain. And so if you do the math down, I think that the converting bread to food actually does give you a little bit of a boost there. However, we'll talk about this a little bit later with rations. You'll see that you can make rations from all of the different resources. So this one gives you a 10 to 1. This one, meat gives you 3, grain gives you 5, milk gives you 2, and then bread gives you 1. I found actually that grain is actually giving me more output for rations. So there are little points that you can game this to min-max where you're using your resources and what's actually the best use of them. So that's the cook. And then the last one is the cow herder. Cow herder is so annoying. Honestly, it's got 4 different tasks. I can't do the milk to food yet. I think I need to upgrade my granary, or maybe it's just not in the game yet, or something else is bugged. Obviously, this is still an alpha, a beta. I mean, it's an open beta. But yeah, so the first step is you're going to feed your cows. So you're going to go, and maybe they're ready. I don't know. Let's see. No, they're ready for slaughter, but we'll slaughter them too. So the first step is to feed them. And so you'll feed them wheat, so you do need wheat for them, and then you will go and you'll be able to milk them. And so when you're milking them, you're going to get that milk from them after some time after they've been eaten and got, larger, and then you'll be able to butcher them for meat. And so that's the cycle. You have to do all 3 of them to keep it going. And then eventually, if you wanted to, you could turn that milk into cheese and into food. And this actually is the highest conversion rate I've seen, but I just can't do it yet. So that'll definitely be the best way to make food in the future. But that is all of the different classes. Next thing I want to talk about is assigning a leader to these crews. So let's take this Lumberjack here. I know that it'll be nice to have this Osmond Firminger as a hero. So you'll be able to click that little icon on the bottom left there. You'll click assign, and then this will give them any of their special abilities. So this one, I have this one that's called Valiant 2, which gives them a max stamina of plus 10 for 3 minutes. So we'll be able to add that. Unfortunately, that was a little issue sometimes here and there. I think I have it on a different character also, so it's like there's 2 characters that think they have this as a hero. So that's one of the issues. Once again, just a beta. They are constantly iterating on this. So yeah, so there we go. We've gone over all of the units. We went over the heroes. So now let's talk about events. These are triggered by just interacting and engaging. So that's why it's important to just try and have all of your units mining, cutting logs, just doing something at all times, because that gives you a chance to trigger an event. And then this is really where I've generated the most amount of gold. I actually had this event right here where I got 500 gold, which literally set me up so that I could finish, my 15 squad. I bought some military units, and that was what really got me just off the floor, ready to play. I didn't spend any money, so this game is totally free to play. And then if you wanted to, you could go and purchase more. We'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But with the events, you're going to have a couple different options of what to do. Some of them will be pretty clear, that's a good option. Some of them will be unknown, and some of them are high risk, high reward, and that's what I suggest you do. Just literally slam it. Maybe I'm just a gambler and I love it, but that is what got me the 500 gold. So if you want that, you gotta go for it. And honestly, it's a good little spike of dopamine when it does go right. I have had one go really bad where I had to pay 40 gold, and then I was still successful, but I only got 10 back, and so that net loss of 30 gold doesn't feel great. I tell you what. So that is the events. Definitely double check them. I'm gonna just post all of the events we have right here, and then if you want to see any of the other events, I'll probably make a spreadsheet of all of the different answers and solutions. If you're interested in that, please hit the subscribe button so you can keep up to date with it. I'm sure there's someone else who might already have all this information from the earlier alpha. If you do, please share with us so we can share with the community. That would be awesome. All right, so then the next thing I want to talk about is the production building settings. So if you go into the building, when it's not in use, you can change what it is. You might have done this right at the beginning when you first made your building. The first thing I'm going to suggest is definitely don't use anything that requires gold. It does give you more, but I don't think that that's worth, like, what is 20 gold, 20 or like, let's say at the high end, 80 wheat is not worth 10 gold, at least not in my economy, in my region. And we'll talk about the marketplace a little bit later, but definitely not worth. So I would definitely keep it on the basic wheat. I just made this mistake. I accidentally triggered it. I don't know how. So I just wasted 30 gold. I'm not happy about it, but there you go. Seeds right there. For the plow, this is only taking tools. Tools for a production boost of 2. I don't even know if that's necessarily worth it, but I have tools. It's going from 6 to 10. So that's one thing you can kind of think of. I think once our production is really high, then these 2% actually mean a significant amount. And as we level up the building, these numbers might be changing as well. So I'm now keeping the second tier for most of these second rows, and the same for the third rows, because those are just tools. So that's kind of what we're sticking at there. And actually just double checking this. Yeah, that goes from 5 to 10, so we're going to keep that, boom. And so then that is how you kind of mess with your production settings. I would just avoid anything that uses gold, and then keep the ones that are keeping tools. But early on, honestly, don't even use the ones that take additional resources. Like, I know that the extra wheat for making your feeding your cows, that's not worth it. It goes from like 10 to 30, doesn't really give you any output bonus. So that's one that you can example, because that wheat can be converted to grain, which is important. And then we can take a look at the marketplace. So if you're in a situation like I was, where I didn't have enough refined wood, this is where it might be useful. And also late game, when you have a bunch of extra resources, you can convert that to gold and then be able to buy more units for your army. So it's going to be really important just to understand how that marketplace works. So let's take a quick look at it. So you can, when you land on the map, click that eye again, get to your castle, and then go to the marketplace in the bottom right. And so you'll see that there are different things that happen with buying and selling. So for buying, there's a 20% increase on the base price. Higher prosperity gives better discounts, and then also there's a reduction in price here if you buy in bulk. So this is where really you're going to want to like not buy anything until you have like a lot of gold, because even I think at my max I'm getting 5% off, because you can see on the bottom or on the right side there, I'm getting 5% off caused by your buying quantity. So it could be up to 20% if I had enough silver. So in this case, just I'm not getting as efficient if I were to buy in bulk. So that's why I would definitely want to save your gold until then. And then the opposite is true when you're trying to sell. You're actually going to want to sell very small amounts. But the problem is your daily limit, you can only sell 10 times. So, the bigger you get, it's going to hurt you. Like right here, I'm getting 50% off already because of that. And I'm just trying to sell 161. I can't even get a single coin. So it's going to take a lot to be able to actually sell this. But that is how what I've learned from the marketplace so far. I'm still pretty limited on that knowledge, along with any of the influence and prosperity, the stuff that's actually related to the region. That's all stuff that I'm still not sure. This land that I'm on is not claimed by a ruler, and I'm definitely not the ruler yet, so we still have a lot to learn. So if there's someone who's been playing this and they have a lot of tips and tricks, feel free, comment below, love to chat, or if you want to hop on a call, love to work with you and figure out how to play this better. So that is the marketplace. We're going to go back to our land, just talk about the end goal of what you're trying to achieve. I think I might have mentioned it earlier, but we're trying to unlock Sector 2. And so there are 3 sectors in the game. And so we'll see right here, this is Sector 2, and then there's Sector 3 right here. These give you a bunch of different upgrades and different ways to increase your production, as well as potentially more building plots. I haven't got there yet. If you have, let us know. But I'm really excited to do that. One thing that I've also noticed is that the Foreman House level 5 does boost the production or the number of capacity to 7. So that's one thing that I'm really excited for. That'll get us so we can recruit 16, and then I can get that militia. I definitely need that militia. So that's one for Sector 2. And then Sector 3, which is so far away because you got to get your Foreman House up to level 8. But yeah, it's going to be a minute. And then that's how you can then build those. I'm sure there's more building plots here too. So you're just going to be able to really start to ramp up your production in your plot. But that is all we've got for the farm. Let's talk about preparing for combat. And so to do that, we have our rations. I already mentioned it earlier, but these will have different ratios, so it's important to figure out what is the best. In my case, for today's ratio, I don't know if this actually ever changes, but the 5 grain to 1 ration was the highest, so that's where I can really pump that out. I'm going to tell you right now, even if you have 2,000, maybe even 5,000, that's not even going to last you a full day unless you're like consistently being able to pump food to keep that upkeep. Unless you're deploying and undeploying your army after every attack, that's where you could potentially have some chance. So that's the first thing you need to do. I'd say easily have 2,000 to 5,000 rations on standby, and maybe there's a way that you, as you fight, you can actually keep claiming more rations. But man, it was tough. I felt like they were just flying through, and you could always buy some from the influence store. So if you haven't played around here, there's ways that you can just spend a little bit of USD. I think it's like $1. You get 5,000. It can really give you a significant boost. I'm probably going to buy some tomorrow just so I can kind of plow through this. So I want to see what the combat really feels like as we get a little bit further on. So that is the merchant store. And also the other option is you can buy the Lord's token and then stake it. I know that we as Polemos, we've staked a lot. So we probably actually have a bunch of this influence saved up, and potentially maybe we'll even buy one of the special units. I don't know if you guys have seen this in the influence. You can get a hero, and I think these are the remaining heroes for the different regions. So I'm like a little bit tempted to get one of these, especially this guy. I think it's badass. But anyways, so that is the different what you need to prepare for. So rations. So let's go ahead and go back to our main map. Here in this region, you can see wherever you decide to set up shop. I set up in the bottom right. It was just an unclaimed, lordless land. So that's why I went here. But it might have been a terrible mistake. I think the prosperity of an ice region in the mountains is not good. So I think maybe that's why I'm struggling. But Yeah, so you're going to see a bunch of different icons. These are where their military units positioned about, and these are like, I think these are just PvE, or these are other players, not 100% sure, but you'll be able to go around and fight them. There are 1-star ones, and I'm saying they're stars because like next to them there's like 3, and I think that dictates how powerful those armies are. And there were 1-stars. I managed to kill all of them. And what I would highly suggest doing is when you are setting up your army, make sure that you recruit enough so that you have a massive, like, you're overwhelming the enemy where you're not losing any units at all, because that's the key purpose. Like that way you can keep progressing. All of your units are gaining experience, which you'll then that's how you level them. So let's go ahead and talk about how you kind of scale your army. So when you recruit one, so we'll go over recruitment first. So you have 3 base options. You have the light infantry, the short bow, and the light cavalry. You're going to want to get like each of these, at least one of each, and then try to keep them all alive, building up their XP. As you build up their XP, you're then going to be able to level them up. And you'll be able to see the one squad that survived has 570 experience now. So he's really, really quite experienced. And so with 70 experience, I would be able to level him up to level 2. And so the goal is to get these to level 10, which is the next threshold. Because if we look back in our recruiting a squad, we can then recruit the next one once we're level 10. Of whatever, its sub is. So this one I needed a light infantry. So I think I've unlocked potentially, I've unlocked the expert short bow potentially. Maybe not even potentially, because there's no way this is level 20. But he'll definitely have a couple levels, which when I do level him up, we'll go back to my squads. You'll be able to see the upgrade. It does take some gold. In fact, I'll just do it just to see what it is. Success. So we're now level 2. We actually didn't increase our unit number. It was already at 24. I thought it would boost it up. It didn't. Power, and then defense is 70. So it looks like it's going up 10 XP each level. So you can kind of do the math on that quickly and determine how much base XP you need before they'll be able to level up. But if they die, they're gone. So you definitely want to make sure that they manage to survive. And then after every battle, make sure you're recovering HP, which also takes rations. So that's another thing. It just takes a lot. And make sure you're restoring fortitude. Now, how fortitude works is every unit has a skill, a formation is what they're called. So in the game, if you click on them, and you have to click on each unit individually to activate it, and you'll see it in the bottom of the bar, or bottom of the as one of the buttons in the bottom. So the formation gives bonuses. So this one gives plus 10 dodge, 25% defense, 20% hit, but then minus 20% attack. So it's like a kind of something just to save you for this one. You don't want to use that formation unless it's actually necessary. If we look at the other two, they have different kinds of formations. So this one gives you a 20% hit, attack, speed, but it actually makes it weaker. So this one's good if maybe there's already 2 that are already fighting, and then you get this light infantry to attack from behind, or like a pincer maneuver. Boom, you activate that. He's just doing massive extra damage, and your other one's kind of tanking. Really, really good way to keep that light infantry alive. And then for your light cavalry, this is good just to increase their damage. So you definitely want to send your cavalry into a battle that's already happening. Have them come in there and just do some huge damage. So that's kind of those 3. I haven't really looked into the rest of them, but that's how I was using them, and you'll see that in some of the gameplay footage that's probably showing right now. But yeah, there's that. So when you're setting up your battalion, you're going to assemble it. You need a leader, a hero. You'll place that in the front, and then your squads will be placed on following. You have 6 squads per hero, so you're definitely going to need at least 3 heroes to make a really stacked battalion. And so I managed to get up to 5 units and 2 leaders, and it was pretty good. It could take out the 1-star units very easily. So I won several of those fights, barely losing any troops at all. Really, really good time. But then the first time I went in and fought a 2-star, literally I still had a little bit of advantage on the number, but they actually had way more units. I also probably just played really bad. I used the formations incorrectly, and I literally got almost my entire army wiped. So you definitely want to play this safe and just keep building up your army, and then really be only going for fights that you can 100% win, and with very few casualties, if none, so that you can just heal up and you're good to go. So that's the all the information I have for the setup. Now, when you're in battle, you're going to start off, your units are way spread out, and their army is, you're going to click begin battle. The first thing is like figure out where are their weak units, what is something you can quickly pick off and get a little bit of a numbers advantage and maintain your strengths. And then you really want to focus all your units on one squad at a time so you can quickly pick them off, but still try to spread out the damage of what they're attacking. You don't want them to be attacking a single unit, but if you can manage to focus all your fire on ones, that's how you can spread out the damage, keep your units alive, and then be able to heal them up after the fight. Taking out their leader, their hero, is one that I've been doing quite quickly. Just kill them off easy, especially with the archers. If you can use the archers to just shoot them down, don't even let your melee units get hit. And then also towards the end of a fight, I would always pull my melee units out, stop letting them fight, and just let the archers attack the units as they're kind of just stumbling around. That I think saves some amount of damage. But otherwise, you're going to just really try and focus on killing them as quickly as you can without losing much damage, using your formations as described earlier, and you should be able to get through those 1 stars pretty easy with 5 squads. Maybe get a 6 squad if you've never played an RTS like this before. It is very simple compared to like if you really know how to play like StarCraft or Age of Empires, you should be able to do this very easily. Yeah, I think that as we go up in the star levels, it can get a lot harder, and then you'll need to know how to activate your abilities quite quickly and at the perfect timing. But so that's all I've got for today. If you like this video, please give us a like, subscribe for more. We are going to cover more content on Blocklords in the next, maybe the next week or so. I want to get a little bit further along so that I can show you what a full battalion looks like, and then maybe I'll even become a lord. But that's all I got. Otherwise, you guys have a great day. See you next time. Caveman logging off.